Somewhere beyond the recesses of time and space, two podcasters are set adrift in a machine, picking up transmissions of movies that are forgotten but not gone.
Welcome to Movie Memory Machine 5-4, the mini-series in which we pick 5 films thematically related to the film we are covering this week. And this week, we are covering Don Juan DeMarco.
Have you ever really loved 5 movies that are thematically similar to Don Juan DeMarco?
I have, and I'm ready to share them with you.
Well, then let's get going. All
right. The first film we have for Don Juan DeMarco is...
The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, a really breathtakingly beautiful and fun film that gets harder to enjoy the more you learn about how Terry Gilliam ran his set.
Yeah. This is one of those cases of like the John Landis syndrome where it's like, oh, yeah, it feels like a dangerous movie to watch because it was a dangerous movie to film.
Yeah, you know, and it's like there's a certain visceral thrill that comes through on camera that is sort of an infectious feeling when you watch it, and then you learn, oh no, people were put in kind of an irresponsible amount of danger to create that feeling. Is the feeling really worth it? Could the movie have been just as good if like certain safety regulations were adhered to? Tell the people about the movie.
Or is it okay if the movie wasn't as good? And just still existed. But anyway, thematically, this is, I chose this one because, you know, we're talking about tall tales. We're talking about, mythology building through, many adventures. Granted, Baron Munchausen is a little less, sexual.
I mean, he gets pretty horned up for Uma Thurman, the Moon's wife. Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah.
But this, in terms of that myth-building aspect of it, I think I really love this movie. It was a big movie of my childhood, and I think it's a great way to... You know what? I mean, short of the short story that Fitzgerald wrote, this is Benjamin Buttoning before Benjamin Button happened.
True. It's very true. Like taking a short story and just like blowing it up into a much bigger thing and having it be a movie.
Yes, that, but also a character who gets younger as the movie progresses.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's also a good point. I haven't seen the movie in a while. I actually forgot that there was a Benjamin Buttoning subplot. All the more reason to revisit it.
All right. Should we move on to the next film?
Yes, go for it.
All right. Film number 2 we have is...
Big Fish, a movie that really hit me right in the feels when I watched it as a freshman in high school, and I'm wondering if it would hit me as hard in the feels now that I have a little more life experience.
Interesting. Yeah, I do seem to remember it being a little saccharine for my taste. I enjoyed it at the time. This is a deviation from Tim Burton, but also kind of goes into that world of storytelling and myth building through like let me tell you of my life adventures.
Have you ever really neglected your son?
I have a specific weird association with this movie, which is when I when I first lived in Los Angeles, I had a neighbor who was younger than me and was high all the time. And he came over once and saw my physical media collection. He's like, oh, man. And he came over. Once he had that in his head, he came over later. He's like, yeah, my girlfriend and I are looking for something to watch. Can we borrow something?
Well, you didn't even offer? He just asked, like, yo, can I borrow some of your shit?
Well, listen, as a physical media collector, you get a little protective when people don't return it. Guess what? This pothead still owns Big Fish because he borrowed it from me and didn't give it back. The reason I didn't ask for it back was when he invited me over, he and his girlfriend were in this studio apartment, and were like, she didn't have any pants on, he didn't have a shirt on, they were high as shit, he kept clicking his tongue through dry mouth, like cotton mouth, and she kept eating strawberries in the weirdest way. It was the most uncomfortable situation I've been in. And I'm like, you know what? If you haven't watched Big Fish yet, just hold on to it, and I'll maybe come back later.
Is this a DVD or a Blu-ray that you left with them?
It was a DVD.
Okay. So you're like, I can take the $15 hits. I don't have to touch something that you two were rubbing your feet on or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. But I also haven't seen Big Fish since then, so that's what I remember when I think of this movie.
I love that most of our discussion of Big Fish relates around you having a gross stoner neighbor in the early 2000s.
All right, moving on to film number 3.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, directed by Ben Stiller, starring Ben Stiller.
And this is based on a classic film of the same name and premise, starring Danny Kaye, one of my all-time favorite comedians of the classic era. This film, I think, is very underrated. It was not your typical Ben Stiller film when it came out. It was a little more, I don't know, thought-provoking, but it's very much about wanting a different, more adventurous life than the one you're leading. And I think that thematically relates to Don Juan or John DeMarco. If we look at it through the real life character that he is, creating this adventurous life and character for himself, I think that touches a little bit on The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
I feel like this movie, which I've not seen in its entirety, also is a good way to get an early sense of Ben Stiller's kind of directing style, and I think a lot of the colors and compositions that he uses come back a lot in his TV show Severance, which is on Apple TV right now and is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best things on television.
Also, we're not sponsored by Severance.
No, everyone should just go watch Severance if you like good shit. It's so good. Watch Severance. I'm being unequivocal in my recommendation. But yes, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, my one association with this is when I did watch some of it, my roommate had it on, and I was just really cluing into how many product placements were in the movie, and I was roasting the amount of product placements in the movie, and in the years since I was a douchebag in his early 20s, I've thought, hey, maybe my roommate just wanted to watch the movie and not have some jackass clown on it. So I feel bad about that, and when I watch this movie, I will give it a fairer shake than I did before.
Well, if you don't want the product placement, you can always go back and watch the original, which I also recommend.
Yes, the original Secret Life of Walter Mitty, brought to you by Chesterfield Cigarettes.
Moving on to movie number 4.
The Fall. Okay, directed by Tarsem, who also made The Cell?
Yes, that's correct.
It's all about making movies that start with the, and then it's a 4-letter word with 2 L's. I've never seen The Fall, but I've met a lot of people who love it.
Oh, man, Truman, I have to admit, I haven't seen this in a long time. There's a brand new 4K restoration. It just did a road show around the globe, and I wish I had been able to see it in theaters. Unfortunately, this is the exact sort of thing that doesn't come to Madison, and I get so frustrated sometimes because I'm like, this was one of those films I felt early on, because this is 2006 and I moved to LA in 2006. I felt like I was discovering this shit doesn't reach the Midwest. I'm now that I'm out here, I get access to a lot of really interesting things. This is also, side note, The Fall was presented by David Fincher and David Lynch in order to get it into theaters.
Wow. Did they call themselves David Lyncher or something? They kind of do the mashup? Yeah,
David
exactly.
Lynch. Yeah, no.
Before there were the Daniels, there were the Davids.
But The Fall is also a kind of myth and storytelling thing. It leans more fairy tale, where there's a guy in a hospital, and in order to get drugs, he's trying to get the drip, what do you call that?
Opium.
No, it might be opium. It might be opium, or I was thinking of morphine.
Opium and morphine function similarly once they're in the bloodstream.
I was thinking morphine, but he's trying to coax a little girl of getting it for him. He's wheelchair bound and can't get up and go get it. So, in order to make her do that, he gives this trade of I will tell you a story, and so it's told in these segments, kind of like Baron Munchausen is, where the story just gets grander and grander and more mythological as he tells it, and it becomes a kind of a parable for what maybe might have really happened to him to send him to the hospital.
Oh, okay. Now this sounds kind of like all the things we were hoping to get from Don Juan that we didn't really get.
Yeah. Anyway, The Fall, I highly recommend. If any, I'd say this is the highest recommended of the 5 today. Maybe should have saved it for last, but I didn't, and I got one more for you.
Hell yeah. Well, then let's go to the totally anticlimax ending.
That's how I roll.
Anticlimax, something that Don Juan would know nothing about.
Number 5.
Benny and Joon, starring famously cool guy Johnny Depp. Yeah. This is a real snapshot of a point in time in indie film and in kind of alt culture.
Yeah, this is a film that benefited a lot from high play volume on HBO or maybe Showtime, because this is something that, like, as a, I don't know, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, like, I probably shouldn't have been watching this that much. I watched this movie so much because it was just always on.
Why shouldn't you have been watching it that much? What in Benny and Joon is going to rot your brain any more so than, like, the Chucky movies or Leprechaun in Space?
Nothing. But I'm just saying, in terms of my interest level, like, this has nothing to. It's so far away from playing Super Nintendo and Ninja Turtles that, like, it shouldn't have been. I shouldn't have been exposed to it that much. I'm not saying in terms of, like, danger. Like, I wasn't in danger of being exposed to it. Just like, there's no reason I should have watched this or What's Eating Gilbert Grape as much as I did.
Yeah, What's Eating Gilbert... Like, at least Benny and Joon is whimsical and fun. What's Eating Gilbert Grape is just a real sock in the gut over and over again. Just depressing thing after depressing thing.
Well, I don't know. Benny and Joon has a little bit of that, too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Like, it's obviously sad that their parents died and everything, but the whole point is that here's Johnny Depp playing a guy who lives in a fantasy world, but unlike Don Juan, that fantasy world is fun, and it kind of brings joy to the people around him, instead of him just behaving like a, horny creep in public all the time.
I do wonder if Johnny Depp wanted to do this movie because he didn't get cast in Chaplin. Because he's
like, what?
He's basically doing Chaplin bits this whole movie. Like, he doesn't speak. He's constantly walking around, with the kind of the tramp swagger, if you will, and he even does the dinner roll dance.
He's just mad dogging Robert Downey Jr. from across the room at the Oscars. Like, I could have done it if I wanted to. I didn't want it, but I could have done it.
Oh God. Anyway, that is our 5-4 for Don Juan DeMarco. You have anything you want to add, Truman?
No. I mean, I've already made multiple "Have you ever really, 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 really loved a woman" jokes, so I don't have any more. But we will talk to you guys in the next 5-4 or on our next episode.
Truman, have you ever really, 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 really wanted to end an episode?
Yes, I'm experiencing that emotion right now.
So we'll see you in the next one. For Truman Caps, I've been Landen Solano.
And for Landen Solano, I've been Truman Caps. Bye!
Movie Memory Machine is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod to keep the machine running. Theme song by Porky's Groove Machine. Rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. For more information on today's show, visit MovieMemoryMachine.com.